As a young man, my father taught me to love to play golf. He ran the local grocery store, and we'd leave in the morning before the sun came up, play 9 holes of golf, and we'd be home so that he could go run the store. And on one of those days after we were finished, I took his clubs out of the garage and wanted to practice in the backyard. It wasn't long before the golf clubs were all over the backyard, and I was learning to drive the balls. As I did, I drove them over the fence into the pasture. So after I'd driven about 15 of his balls into the pasture, I went to find them. I was very surprised to learn that day how hard it was to find golf balls in tall grass. I walked all over that pasture, up and down, back and forth, and could not find one. And it was then that this great fear entered my heart. I was in trouble. I knew that there would be a reckoning with my father because I didn't have permission to use his clubs. And now I'd lost all his golf balls in tall grass. And so I turned to the source of help that I'd been taught to turn to. My mother taught me when I was in trouble, ask God for help. And so I prayed that day that I might be able to find those golf balls. I knelt in a place in our backyard and prayed that I might find those golf balls and save my life, I thought, from my father. And with new resolution, I went back into the pasture, and with a new idea about how to search for them, I marched back and forth through the tall grass, reckoning my straight lines on the fence posts. I went back to the pasture, and the thought occurred to me to be a little more systematic about walking back and forth to find those golf balls. And as I did, I found all but one. I found 14 out of 15 golf balls, carried them out of the pasture, put them back in the golf bag and the clubs and put them away. I also carried out of that pasture a never forgotten lesson. And I learned that day that God loved me and He would answer my prayers and help me. And that lesson has come back to me, and I've had His help many times since then. And I'm grateful for that memory and the strength it's given me as an individual, something I learned in my youth. Another thing I've learned in my youth is the wonderful heritage I have from my family, from my parents, and the name I have. I'm very proud of the loyalty my father and mother taught me, to be loyal to them and my brothers and sisters. I'm grateful for following after honorable grandparents and parents who had a good name in our community. My father was loved. He was a kind, generous man, helped other people. I learned that that was a part of my name. I'm very grateful for the heritage that's mine, the wonderful lessons I've learned from my father and mother by their example and the name they've given me. My father was a very kind, generous man. He was loved in our community for the good that he did. As he ran the grocery store, there were many times that people needed extra food. He was very generous about that. I knew that that became a part of me. It was a part of my name to be someone who watched for the needs of others. And that was a great lesson I learned from him. Grateful for my grandparents and my parents and the good name that they gave me. And it's my hope that I can live a life in a way that honors that name, and I pass it on to my children so that they also will honor it and feel an obligation to respect that and be good examples, generous individuals in their communities, and do what they can to make life better for others. Heritage is a wonderful thing, and I'm glad it's played an important role in my life. One of the powerful things about scouting is that it brings young men and adult leaders together. The young men learn from the adult leaders how they want to live and who they want to become because of the fine example adult leaders are. But the adult leaders should keep in mind that they make a great impact upon these young men as they see that the young men have a full experience in whatever scouting activity, rank advancement, or merit badge they're working on. Because as they participate and learn, for example, working on the genealogy merit badge, learn through the requirements just what it means to keep family records, what it means to get to know your family. They're forever changed in their lives, and adult leaders ought to see that they have a thorough deep opportunity in each one of the various Scout values and each one of the techniques and merit badges that come up, so that these young men have a profound impact in their life by the experience, and not just a one-time event. As a young man and through my life, I've enjoyed assembling family records and learning more about my ancestors. I've enjoyed hearing stories about them that we've kept in family records that have inspired me and helped me understand and learn more about them. Seeing their name on a record sheet and where they were born and when they lived and where they lived has inspired me. And there's a certain feeling about it that's very enjoyable. So when I think of this merit badge and other young men in the world learning about their families, assembling their records, learning more about their ancestors, I think of a lot of young men being strengthened and helped to understand just what it means to be in a family and having ancestors who were examples. Our heritage is a powerful thing, and it's a powerful thing for me. It's guided me all my life. I'm grateful for that and all that I was taught as a young man by my family.